The wolves and the blood knights simply continue on their way, and poor, whatever his name is, has given his life for the Empire. All right, welcome back to the war. So, this should be the turn I just left you guys on. We just had the second Battle of Nuln, in which we defeated Elspeth von Draken and Nikolaus Huss. And so now, I think at the end of the last episode, I mentioned having Vlad just go right to attacking Dotternbach. That's how I choose to pronounce that. And I think that is what we are going to do. And if Elspeth turns around and takes Nuln, that's fine. Vlad can then just turn around and attack her there. Or if she retreats to Wissenburg, then we can just continue on attacking her there as well. In fact, I wonder where exactly is the border? Oh, I guess that's probably this here. Okay. I was actually wondering if Elspeth would be in Dotternbach's area of influence, but I believe it's this line here, so she actually wouldn't be. Unless that's like a road. Oh, that could be a road. That could be a road. In fact, now that I look at it, it comes out of the front gate and then goes into the gates over here. That's probably a road rather than the actual border between like the different settlements. So I guess we'll find out here shortly. I've already done a bunch of campaign map stuff. I mean, there's not really anything to discuss, I guess. The Changeling is still there. Oh, I guess I didn't mention that the Skull Takers actually really are harassing Averland. And I mean, like, really harassing Averland, because this place looks like it's been completely destroyed, and I bet you Averheim is in a similar situation. So hopefully once we're done with Wissenland here, we can just mosey on right over and take them out as well. And so then we'll have contiguous provinces here. Like, this whole area will be under our control instead of, you know, just bits of it. Or have this bite taken out of it, if you will. Let's see. I don't think anything is happening back over here. I guess there's Azehag over there. You don't, like, hate me, do you? Ruler's tolerance to bone rattles. Oh, actually, it is improving. They do have the same aversion to us that it seems like every faction has, though not as bad. And there's apparently a ruler's tolerance to the bone rattlers. Interesting. All right. Anyway, let us continue on, though. Vlad attacks Dotternbach.
Bring them death.
Really? Close victory, but with low casualties. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so all we've got is the garrison and a much depleted force of Nikolaus Huss. So, let's just get right into the battle. All right, welcome to the battle. So what we've got here is we've got wolves going out on the left, and the knights are all the way over on the right over there. The enemy is, of course, over here, as you can see. I was sending my flying units forward, but realized they had a bunch of archers in the back here, and some gunners were up front here as well. Or, I guess they're the Free Company militia. I didn't want to send my flying units forward because I assumed they would die. Horribly, and basically instantly. Right now, I think I'm telling them to march, but in a moment I start telling them to run. I mean, I know the units are slow, but it's like they don't even change their speed at all. See, it looks like the animation is far more, like, vigorous and stuff, but they're not really going very fast. But I did also want to point out, though, that look at how, like, perfectly in unison they are moving. I assume that's deliberate, right? Because they're undead. They're just being puppeted by, you know, necromantic magic and such. So they don't have any, like, wills of their own. So they're just sort of robots, like, just moving in perfect unison. If that's deliberate, then that's... I think that's actually kind of cool. So the idea here is that the front lines, which consist of the weaker skeleton units, are going to collide with the enemy, and then we have the corpse cart, the crypt horrors, yes, the crypt horrors, and then the grave guards behind them. I sort of forget about my flying units, including Isabella and Posner, who are now on flying steeds. I'm going to have to take a look at that back on the campaign map and see if I really want them to fly. But I sort of forget about them. Sorry for the jerkiness of the camera there. I think I need to adjust the speed a bit. I have actually enabled the debug camera, which I didn't in past battles, so that I can now, like, pass through objects, like the ground. Not that that's too useful, but in cities, I think it'll be more useful, because in, like, Nuln, for example, I couldn't get my camera where I wanted it to go at certain times because there was, like, a building or something in the way, or I couldn't get under a bridge, for example. So anyway, the direwolves have struck the archers and the gunners, who are basically all in the back line here. And so have the knights. They've attacked from behind here as well. Now I send the blood knights and the bats to then attack their front line from behind. To just hurry up the route a bit. And then also commit the grave guards at this point, though I don't think they'll be able to push their way through too easily to get to the enemy. We do have pretty stiff resistance from the enemy in this quarter, because this is where Nicholas is. But I've also sent in the crypt horrors on this side just to make sure that we don't get completely destroyed here. As you can see, the blood knights are also assisting with an attack from behind. Meanwhile, the Black Knights are assembling back here so that they can strike this force from behind as well. And basically everywhere else, the enemy is in defeat. So the bats and the wolves you can see in the background are just chasing them, killing them as they try to flee. The Black Knights strike from behind. And you can tell the moment they start to rout, not only because they turn around, but because they kind of get squished in there. So what I do, and I think I've noticed this, this happened in Warhammer 2, that one campaign I played before. Oh, wow, that was quite the charge. But what I noticed happening in Warhammer 2, you see when there's a whole bunch of units attacking from, like front and back, you see how they don't actually, like, kill the routers. They just kind of get stuck amongst each other. And so I think what I have to do, or what I do in this battle, and what I need to remember to do in future battles is, like, anytime a unit starts to rout, just start peeling away the units from the rout. Like, just have my units go off in different directions and leave them alone. Let them sort of reform, if you will, as a unit, and then send my cavalry after them. It's a bit annoying, but otherwise you just get a situation like this. Where, yes, flee, they're routing, but you can see the knights aren't attacking them, and neither are any of, like, the skeleton infantry or anything. And so it's sort of at this point where you see I start to peel off my units. I start sending the skeletons down there, and I thought I had sent the Black Knights away, but I guess maybe they got caught or something. I did end up sending them away, though. I think the direwolf should basically be finished eating everyone by now, or most everyone. Alright, fantastic. Oh, I forgot to mention, it's actually happening over here too, where these units are all just kind of bunched up amongst each other. Poor Nicholas there, with some of his men, are just sitting there having, like, a very awkward staring contest with the Blood Knights, though I think I just saw a Blood Knight strike with his lance over there on the left. Maybe there is some fighting going on in here, but not very much. Alright, but anyway, I don't think you guys need to see any more. Basically, the enemy is in retreat. The knights and the hounds eat most of them. I do eventually realize there's this ball of enemies here, and so I split up the ball here as well. But anyway, that's going to be it for now. So I will just let you guys go, and I will see you back on the campaign map. All right, so the enemy are defeated. The knights obviously did very well, as did the wolves. Wow, the wolves absolutely slaughtered the enemy, which I guess is expected because they got in amongst the archers and the gunners behind them, and then also like hit the back of the enemy lines in many cases. Even the Graveguard did fairly well, considering they didn't. They were in the back line and not in the front line. I do need to check. Isabella and Posner both seem to have flying mounts. I'm not sure if I want them to fly, or if I want them to have regular steeds. I assume regular steeds are still available, but we'll check that here in a minute. Anyway, the point is that we are now going to occupy Dotternbach. All right, and I don't think Vlad, yeah, he can't move out. His casualties will be immediately replenished. So, as I said, next turn, we will either attack Wissenburg or Nuln, depending on what Elspeth von Draken chooses to do. The choice is now hers as to where she is going to be defeated, either at Nuln or at Wissenburg. So, it looks like that's going to be it for now. So, I will just let you guys go, and I will bring you back as the war continues. All right, welcome back to the war. It has not been long. It is the same turn, actually. Well, I guess the next turn, actually, after I left you guys last. We're not going to talk about the campaign map too much because, frankly, nothing really has changed. Changeling's still there. I assume the Skull Takers are still down here somewhere, causing trouble for Averland. But looking at the war over here with Wissenland, well, as you can see, Elspeth didn't attack Nuln, and she didn't retreat to Wissenburg. She actually retreated all the way back to Pfeildorf? Pfeildorf? Not sure how you would pronounce a P and an F right next to each other like that. I guess I'm going to call it Pfeildorf. That's probably not even close to how it's pronounced, but oh well. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. Pfeildorf. So, I guess there's no need for us to delay then. I was tempted... Oh, actually, I can't reach her from here. Never mind. I thought that this line here indicated how far I could go, but that's only as far as I could go if I was doing Force March. So I am going to attack Wissenburg this turn, and then go for Pfeildorf the next turn, and hopefully she will not have trained up too many troops in that time. She didn't replenish her troops at all last turn because it turns out she actually was in my territory once I took Dotternbach, so she couldn't replenish anymore. Fortunately, the garrison doesn't seem too good, probably because it's a level 2 settlement, which is actually, I think that was the same as Dotternbach, but it will have walls because it's a capital. And we should be able to get there in 4 turns. And yes, I did notice the dwarves here. They're not allied with Wissenland, so I think we can... but they're not at war with them either. So I think we can still attack and they won't, like, get involved. Like, we won't start a war or anything by doing that. Assuming they're even there next turn. I assume they have other things to do. All right, but anyway, let's just get right in here. Obviously, Vlad's casualties all replenished quite nicely, so we're just going to run right over here and attack Wissenburg. Oh, now this time it's a decisive victory. That's probably because they don't have the army to back them up, because Dotternbach had Nicholas Haas and his army. All right, but anyway, let's get right into the battle.
Let the slaughter begin.
All right, welcome to the battle. One that will be quite short. Thanks to Vlad's ability to have everyone Vanguard deploy, we actually started on the top of the hill instead of all the way back there. And so now we're just going to charge right downhill onto the enemy. Fighting downhill is always quite nice. Meanwhile, their ranged units are being eaten by the Vargeist and the Bats. They did have one extra infantry unit, so I sent the Crypt Horrors to attack them. And then I have the Knights attacking from behind. Back here. Let's get right in there. They are spearmen, but I'm afraid this isn't a very good position even for spearmen. As you can see, the direwolves are attacking from behind on this flank. They almost immediately start running once the wolves start attacking. I forgot, by the way, to change Isabella and Posner to have either... Well, I think I would prefer them to just be on steeds that are on the ground, I think. But I forgot to do that. Vlad's sitting here basically mostly just watching the battle. I think he killed one guy. And so now I'm telling the infantry to pull back so that we can let the cavalry and the flying units, for the most part, just start munching on the enemy as they flee. Your gods have not abandoned you. They were just powerless to help you. Against us. Anyway, the battle was short and sweet, as you can imagine. We'll just watch the Black Knights kill some of these guys here, and then I'll let you guys go. It's all right. Your families will soon be my subjects, and they will be treated well for cattle. All right, anyway. Wissenburg is taken, so I will just see you guys back on the campaign map. All right, so here we are, as usual, our cavalry, and I guess the Vargeist, too, doing a lot of damage. Vlad managed to kill exactly one guy. All right, let's just go ahead and check that box, and let's occupy Wissenburg. Oh, yes, Wissenburg. I think I called it Wissenland when I saved the replay, even though Wissenland is the name of the province, not the settlement that I just took. Oh, looks like they have a resource building here. Very nice. All right, well, anyway, let's get rid of that. Oh, the Dire Pack. Oh, I have a regiment of renown. Oh, I have a couple of regiments of renown. Nice. Mission aborted. Raise or sack the following settlements. Oh, well, I'm not going to. Or, obviously, I'm not going to, because I just didn't. Oh, we did get some stuff for these guys. Also, I just realized I actually forgot to adjust Isabella and Posner being on horseback, or on flying horseback, I should say. I'll have to do that now. But anyway, it looks like I think that's going to be it for now. I imagine next turn we will get over here and attack Pfeildorf. And we'll definitely have it before they manage to increase the garrison. I assume we can get there in one turn. You might have to go around the trees, because I'm not sure if we can move through them, but I think we can get there in a turn. Okay, how is Averheim doing? You guys aren't doing your job of keeping them down and broken. Because they're building up to a third tier settlement there. Come on, guys. Chop, chop. Attack the settlement. Wait, there isn't even anyone there. Unless maybe I'm too far away and just can't see it. Wait a minute. How could there be no one there? There must be a garrison there. Like, even if they had just defeated the garrison. Oh, maybe they just sacked it. Maybe they just sacked it a moment ago or something. All right, but anyway, I guess the point is that I will bring you guys back as the war continues. All right, welcome back to the war. Now, it has been a couple of turns. Not too many, but it has been a couple. And mostly that was because I wanted Vlad to build up some siege equipment before attacking Pfeildorf. I kind of didn't realize... Well, I guess I knew that there would be walls, but it didn't occur to me right away that I would need to prepare at least a little bit, or at least it would be wise to. Because I seem to remember when we've attacked walled settlements in the past, like Castle Tempelhof and Nuln, we definitely needed some equipment to sort of smooth things out a bit when we were attacking them. So just a bit of equipment to help him along. But first, let's talk about the campaign map. I have recruited one of my bloodline lords. I guess the only one who is really available, actually. And I started giving him a somewhat low-tier army. And the reason I've stopped is because, well, the dwarves of Zufbar are basically kind of gathering here near Castle Drakenhof, and I thought they might attack very soon. So, basically, I thought we might need to have a bit more defense here at Castle Drakenhof. And also, as you can see, the Bone Rattlers are advancing into the Empire. Though they're not at war with any Imperial factions, just the dwarves. They've been taking territory over here. Well, the dwarves, and I guess actually they're also at war with the Wargrove of Woe. But anyway, I was a little worried about the movements on the borders here, and so that's why I started making this low-tier army, but then I sort of stopped when the dwarves just kind of passed through my territory to get over here, presumably trying to get at the Bone Rattlers. Which, you know what? They're welcome to them. They're welcome to them. I haven't disbanded them, though. I'm sort of on the fence as to whether to keep them or not. Obviously, they're costing me money each turn, but I'm still worried about being too weak back here in our home territory. I have been building up Castle Drakenhof, and so it is pretty sturdy. Where's its garrison? It's got Graveguard, it's got a Vargulf. Got walls, obviously. But some of these other settlements are a little on the weak side, so I think I'll keep them at least at this half-strength army for at least a little bit, and then I can decide later if I want to make them into a full army or if I want to disband them. Now, if we come over here, the Skull Takers are still just beating the snot out of Everland just over and over again. They keep, like, besieging places. They keep destroying places, which is why, like, their garrison doesn't get, like, back up. So, anyway, they're keeping them occupied, which is nice. I do have Fort Soul down here is held by Black Venom. And they keep trying to get, like, treaties with me. In fact, they're the only ones who would really want treaties with me, apart from Wissenland, who actually tried to get a peace treaty with me. I did not accept it, as you might expect. They only have this one settlement, though, so I might actually, if possible, I might take it from them, just so that I've got this lovely fort here as a sort of choke point to keep enemies out, though they could also just come down from the mountains here, so not exactly a perfect win there in keeping enemies out. But we'll think about that, Because we still have to take Pfeildorf and we still have to take Steingart, so let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Now, you may have noticed that I've got a couple of blood kisses here, and one of them was due to character assassination. And it's not the type where you just spread nasty rumors about someone. I mean, they're dead. Posner has offed a couple of heroes from Wissenland. I've actually been improving, or not improving, but making her skills the sort that would help her with that. Better chance of success and additional chance of success over here as well, plus making it not cost very much. But by the time she got over here and killed those two heroes, she actually has like a 92% chance success rate, and it only costs like less than 100 to actually do it. So I've had her I'm just going to have her keep picking off the heroes as much as possible. And you may be wondering, how could she have such a high percentage chance of offing someone like that? And the answer is actually Isabella. She has a Queen Bee trait now, which, as you can see, drastically increases the success chance of heroes in the local region, and also lowers the costs by quite a bit as well, 50% in both cases. So she is definitely boosting Posner as well. Now, since Posner is no longer in the army, I did recruit another corpse cart, or from the Raised Dead pool here. just so that we would have another unit to fill out the army here. Since Posner's going to be wandering around doing agent stuff now. I do want her to wander around and just start picking off agents, just so that we can just raise our blood kisses up and really start awakening the bloodlines. We have had some trouble holding on to Stirland, partially because we don't control the whole province, partially because the Changeling is here, who he's spreading corruption and is raiding. I have built up control buildings, both for the money that they provide as well as the control that they give as well. And so we actually are holding off rebellion for actually quite a few turns. But that's another thing we'll have to deal with. Once Vlad has defeated Wissenland and maybe Averland as well, we need to come back here and send the Changeling on his way. The dwarves of, let's see, Clan Engrand are busy dealing with the disciples of the Maw. So that should keep them off my back for a while as well. We've already talked about the dwarves. Okay. Well, anyway, that's the campaign map situation. And like I said, it's been a couple of turns, which is why I felt I needed to update you guys on that.
Death and destruction.
Basically, I had Vlad build up. He's got 2 siege towers and he's got 2 battering rams for the attack. And obviously, we've lowered their numbers just a little bit by holding them under siege for a couple of turns. So, anyway, let's just get right into the battle. All right, welcome to the battle. So what we've got here is a 2-pronged attack, and I'm actually going to bring up the interface here for a bit just so that it's easier for me to explain, or easier for you to see while I explain. Basically, we've got Isabella on this side with one of the corpse carts, half the cavalry, the crypt horrors, and the stalkers here are going to push the battering ram to the gate, while this graveguard unit attacks the walls with the siege tower. Now on the other side, we've got Vlad in basically a similar situation. He's got half the cavalry. He has the extra graveguard unit instead of the crypt horrors. He also has reapers pushing the battering ram to the gate instead of the stalkers. And he has a graveguard unit going forward with a siege tower, in addition to there's a corpse cart there as well. Now in the center, this isn't really... I said it was a 2-pronged attack because those 2 sides I just described are basically the actual attack. This is distraction, or in the case of the flying units, basically trying to get rid of their firing units, their ranged units, as well as their towers as they come up. But you can see there's 3 skeleton spearmen units on the ground here, and they are going to attack the walls here, basically as a distraction to try and keep troops, or as many troops as possible at least, away from the 2 main attacks. And again, the flying units are going to attack the ranged units as they have the opportunity to. So, the battle begins. The crossbowmen are very unhappy. I actually didn't notice the halberd unit at first, but I figured it out pretty quick. They actually don't do a whole lot of damage, so that's fine. They're also providing a nice distraction for the spearmen, even though the spearmen themselves are a distraction. The enemy honestly didn't guard the walls very well on this side. There's a crossbow unit up there, and then there's some swordsmen down here. And so our units are just pushing up to the walls to avoid getting shot by the towers as much as possible, while the equipment charges forward, or is pushed forward. And on this side, it's basically the same thing, except I have most of the troops just against the wall over here because I believe that's out of range of any of their towers. Now, I've never taken a good close look at the battering rams before, and I have to admit, that is an interesting choice of materials. Very interesting. Same with the towers. I assume that gunfire that I hear is the towers. Now, the siege towers do seem to have this problem, and I don't know if this would occur in the vanilla game, but at least I assume if it is a problem with my setup, it's because of the unit multiplier, probably. Just having too many entities in a unit. But basically, the Graveguard don't pour out right away, and I have to kind of coax them out by telling them to go onto the wall, and then once a few of them are on the wall, tell them to attack the unit. And then the rest of them will start pouring out. I don't think they're actually being shot, though. I know you can see the crossbowmen are firing, but it doesn't seem to actually be affecting them. You see, now comes the Graveguard. And something similar happens over here. Though I've already done it, as you can see. And the flying units have come over here to take out the crossbowmen that are over here as well. But to be honest, the longest and hardest fighting is probably done by the spearmen, which is great because that's what they were here for, to be distractions for the enemy. Because, I mean, right now they're facing a couple of units each, or actually I guess this one's facing 2 units, but another unit I think comes over here and joins the attack on them as well. And yes, the gates are down on both sides, so I send Vlad in along with the Graveguard unit first on this side. And on this side, it's Isabella and I believe the Crypt Horrors who come inside the settlement first. Kind of tell the Stalkers to just move out of the way. I find that, or at least I assume, that part of my issues with trying to get units to go through the gates was because there were too many units trying to get through at once. So I figure just, if they're not going through the gates right now, just tell them to go to the side and let the actual unit that's supposed to be going in go inside. Watch the Graveguard fight for a minute. As you can see, Isabella has done that silly thing that much of my infantry seems to do, where for some reason they won't go through the gate. When I tell them to go through the gate, for some reason they go up the tower instead. I really want to know how to get them to stop doing that. You can also see my flying units are now moving on to attack a tower, which is something they basically do until the end of the battle. Alright, let's go ahead and see how Vlad is doing. Because at first he's kind of by himself, because the Graveguard are so slow it takes them a bit to get up here. I can't say he's terribly bothered by it. To be honest, I don't think he lost very much health at all. And of course the Graveguard are now here to assist him. Meanwhile, the Graveguard are chopping their way through the men up here. The spearmen is still trying, or I shouldn't call them spearmen. Technically, they're the spearmen. We are the skeletons. To be honest, even the skeletons didn't suffer all that much. I mean, they did suffer more than any other unit, but our casualties were not too severe. Now, I start bringing in the cavalry because we're kind of unopposed here now. So I have the Crypt Horrors, Isabella, and the cavalry on this side start pushing into the settlement up here. They'll be engaging that halberdier unit in a minute. This is also the captain's unit, by the way. So Vlad and the Graveguard are going to drive them away. And indeed, there they go. Now, we do have crossbowmen down here who keep firing up at my Graveguard. And they are doing, again, not a terrible amount of damage, but they are doing some. So it's time for the cavalry to get in on this side as well and start running down their crossbowmen. Nice seeing the direwolves just come out of the bushes like that. And the Blood Knights are right behind them. And once they're finished chewing on this unit, they will then go and chew on the other unit that's over there. The flying units moving on to a new tower to destroy. Ah, and I see the halberdiers have now been engaged by the dire wolves. I had the crypt horrors up here first, but I thought they would take a fair bit of damage from the halberdiers due to their stats and the anti-large capabilities that they have. But the dire wolves aren't going to do too well either, so I do have Isabella coming up here to assist them. She's right down there, as you can see. At least it'd be easier to see if I tilted the camera down. All right, what are we up to over here? Skeleton spearmen still basically just kind of holding the line. They're not killing a lot of the enemy, which is fine. That's not what they're there for. They're just there as a distraction. All right, the cavalry running roughshod over all of their crossbowmen. I now start sending them up here because there's actually a crossbow unit over here as well. And I think this is the last one. Didn't actually get to watch them too much during the actual battle, so I wonder how exactly does the cavalry handle a barricade like this? Okay, they can run right up the barricade and get at the enemy. Then again, most of the enemy has left the barricade, so it's oh wow, they can charge right up there. I was wondering if cavalry would have difficulties getting around a barricade like that. Now, Vlad and that Graveguard unit actually went chasing the enemy all the way up here. As you can see, my attention was divided in many places. So I think I let them go a little further than I had intended for them to go. Not that they were urgently needed anywhere. I think at this point the battle is essentially won. The Graveguard are going to come over here, though, and assist the Spearmen, because this is really the only spot where there's any serious resistance to our attacks. Good job, Spearmen, or Skeletons. Now we've got Isabella over here, holding a cup as she kills the enemy. I believe that's a unique item, but nevertheless, I think she could leave that back at camp. Oh wait, no, it's actually part of a... It's actually a spell or an ability that she's got that I think is very useful, and it's part of that cup or chalice, if you will. So I guess it's a good idea to bring it after all. All right, most of the units are just kind of not doing a whole lot. Cavalry can't get up onto the walls after all, but the Graveguard are just about over here. And I think army losses are about to take effect now that I think about it. In fact, yes, you see how all the buildings just kind of blew up, all the barriers and such. Also, these guys are starting to get mixed up, and that's always a sure sign that they're routing. And of course, they're routing over here as well. So army losses took effect. The enemy is defeated. So now it's time to just mop up the survivors. I don't think... Well, I do have my flying units assist a bit. But mostly it'll be my cavalry that runs down much of the enemy. Wait, what was that? It is fun, kind of interesting listening to the units. Sometimes. I think we've actually taken over many of these towers as well, so they actually fire on the enemy as they flee. Ah, yes, the wolves finished eating fresh halberdier. Ah, yes, now the wolves and the knights are charging out there to go and get the enemy. Alright, but anyway, let's see, do we have any good spot? I was just going to let you guys watch the enemy get munched a bit, and then I was going to let you go, but it looks like it's going to be a bit before there's any munching to be done here. Oh, wait, no. I will let you go in just a minute, but I seem to remember, yes, this happened in the actual battle. There's this lone crossbowman here who is fleeing, and I see that there's shots here. Oh, wait, is it him or is it him? There's actually two of them here. I think it's this guy here. But basically, the cavalry is coming for them. You can see the wolves, and you can see the blood knights over there. So we'll just we'll watch them get run down, and then I will let you guys go. I think it's this guy, yes. This is the guy that I watched get flung around. The wolves and the blood knights simply continue on their way, and poor, whatever his name is, has given his life for the Empire. Alright, but anyway, I think that's all you guys need to see, so I will let you go now, and I will see you back on the campaign map. Alright, there we go. Our losses were not too terrible. Honestly, they were mostly amongst the spearmen, I think, anyways. Or at least judging by their bars there, they were hit a bit harder, though that Graveguard unit got hit somewhat hard, as did that Direwolf unit. That was probably the one that was in the middle of the city there trying to fight those halberds. Nevertheless, they all did very well. Hundreds of kills. Vlad and Isabella also doing very well. Time to occupy. Soon, very soon, our conquest of the south of the Empire will be complete. I mean, we've still got a couple of settlements to go, to be honest, but we're trucking along quite nicely, and I can see the dark magic spreading throughout the land, getting rid of all this nasty green stuff, making it look more like home. All right, but it looks like that's going to be it for now, so I will let you guys go, and I will bring you back as the war continues.